Well, welcome back to Yates American B244.
In a prior episode, I had largely resolved to scrapping both motor starters, but the cost of a new or even used motor starter has given me incentive to take another look. I had pretty much decided to scrap this whole starter, but I've had a little bit of a renaissance and did some soul searching. Certainly this one coil is pretty much shot. These wires are all loose, so I'm not going to be able to save that one. However, this other coil, these leads seem to be pretty solid, and I've got some resistance between the two. And with application of lots of coil oil soaking for a long time, I've been able to get these fasteners loosened. I actually had to recut the screwdriver slot on a couple of these fasteners because they were so rusted. It turns out this end piece is just sitting in there, so now I should be able to remove this coil without any problem. So this is very fragile. Okay, and then here's the core, so we'll be able to get the rust off of that pretty easily. Between the 4 overload switches, I've been able to salvage 2 without any sheared off fasteners. And I just happen to have a springer that fits exactly here, this way it should. The other springs are completely rusted, like they didn't even exist. Here's what's left of one of the springs. So this position of the thermal overload is where it's been in overload condition and the circuit is open, turning the motor off. So normally it would be in that position there and the motor would be running. So the heater would, in an overload condition, heat up this post and release the overload. So we're going to test that in a little bit. Okay, so that's in the normal operating position. And I wanted to test this to see that the thermal overload was working, so I'm using a soldering iron to heat up that overload post. And there it went. So we know that thermal overload is working. Put a couple coats of new varnish on here. So this bracket is galvanized, but it's also rusted. So I'm just going to use muriatic acid on it, which will remove the galvanized coating, and then maybe I'll just give it a clear coat or something to dress it up. The Evaporust does do pretty good. It does better if you remove a lot of the loose rust first. I was able to clean up these copper pieces by soaking them in a mixture of tomato paste and vinegar. Well, the starter is complete except for some push buttons, but I want to at least test the starter. I have a couple of leads hooked up to my phase converter. And it looks like it's working pretty good.